reasons why most people fail when they try to use metaphysical means to get what they want. Reason number one, they don't know how to activate their subconscious on purpose. And reason number two, they have not defined the problem that they want to deal with. Now, as far as activating the subconscious is concerned, we've gone a little overkill on that. To begin with, if you follow this course, activating your subconscious will happen automatically. It's baked into the process. You also have in your possession now the Awake Mind protocols. The protocols are a full-on, step-by-step guidebook that gives you access to the part of your mind where your genius lives. Now, this has happened to everybody, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Have you ever had a moment of pure inspiration? We all have, right? It's a wonderful feeling, but wouldn't you like to know where to go to get that again? Well, that's what the Awake Mind protocols are all about, along with opening up deeper levels of your intuition, charging your energy body, and we'll also show you a few tips on how to meditate, not to mention all the various resources and downloads available to you now that are on the homepage. Activating your subconscious, well, that's the easy part. What we have to do today is choose the first problem you want to solve. And I say first because once you get this system down, you can just keep going back to back to back to back endlessly. So let's begin. The first thing you're going to do is get a notebook. Yes, a notebook with pencil or pen, your choice. No, you may not use Word or Evernote or Google Docs, none of that. There are a couple of reasons for this, and you'll understand why as we move along. Now, in your notebook, write down 10 problems that are just getting on your fucking nerves. They don't all have to be, epic, world-changing problems. But it's the kind of crap that you either really want or really need to take care of. And once you have your 10 problems down, I want you to put them in order of importance for you. And once you do that, go to the link below titled 1000 Problems. And that link will take you to a category page that looks like this. And what you want to do is link up your issues to the closest categories that you can find. And then once you chose the categories, click on those. From there, you're going to leave my site and you're going to land on the category page that you picked on another website through Hypnosis Downloads. As you can see, there is no shortage of options within each category. In fact, I'm almost positive that whatever your problem is, there is a hypnotic mind program on this site that will help you with that issue. I love this website. It is one of my secret weapons. And it's not because they provide an awesome professional service for an extremely reasonable price, which they do. And it's not just because they offer outstanding training, which they do. No, the reason I want you to use this site is that, one, they are masters at conversational hypnosis, what the uninitiated call spellcasting. And two, they sell both the MP3 track and the PDF script together, and you are going to need both. So pick the program you see that will help you the most. And for our demonstration, I'm going to pick this one. So I click on it and make sure it's the one I want. And yes, it is. Now from here, scroll down to the bottom and you will see two buying options. The option on the left is for the audio program only. And the option on the right is a bundle for both the script and the MP3 audio download. I want you to pick and buy the one on the right. Now, like I said a few minutes ago, you have a dizzying amount of programs to choose from. which is no surprise because Mark Terrell and Roger Elliott, the founders of Hypnosis Download, have been building this library since like 2003. But with so many choices, you just might find yourself in the middle of indecision on which one to pick, and that's not good. So, if you find yourself stuck for where to begin, then allow me to offer you 2 can't-lose options. The first is called Expect the Best, and the second one is Create Your Reality. Now, you will find the link to both programs in the resource section below this video. And, it doesn't matter which program you pick, they're both outstanding. It's a matter of preference, really, but they both give you good foundations to start with. Now, this hypnosis bit is only where we start. So let's move on to the next section where you will see how to anchor your mental work to the physical world. And welcome back. Hypnotic programs like the ones you just downloaded are wonderful tools, but they are only half of the equation. To have the awe-inspiring change that you are looking for, you have to anchor your mental work to something physical. And to do this, you are going to create and empower your own personal symbol for that purpose. Now, this is called a sigil or talisman. And instead of me fumbling around trying to explain what a sigil and talisman is, I grabbed a 9-minute video clip from a disinformation conference back in 2000. Now, for those of you who know who Grant Morrison is, then what you're about to see is not new. But I ask you, along with those who are new to these ideas, to watch all 9 minutes of this video clip, because the point cannot be overstressed. And the point is, words change the operating system of the multiverse. So, without any further ado, Mr. Morrison, the floor is yours.
Leading on from these ridiculous, where do you go from that? I was told this stuff when I come out. I'm just this little kid from Govan in Glasgow, which is a real dodgy area. And I didn't go to university, I left school at 18, but suddenly I found out that if you do these things that you're told by Aleister Crowley, by Wilson, by all these people we read and all these people we've been consuming, but we don't do it, if you actually do what they say, things happen. Things occur exactly as it's described, and we can all do it. So I decided to put this to use in the comic book that I was doing, this thing called The Invisibles. And the idea was to kind of get all this down on paper and somehow look at it, not to accept it as reality, to accept it as purely this is part of human experience. It's a part of human experience that has been described to us for thousands and thousands of years, but for the last 200 has been hidden and made occult for some reason that I don't understand, but seems to have to do with the Industrial Revolution and corporate culture. So these things happen. Magic works. And when I started doing the comic, I found that you could actually make magic happen by writing things and changing the operating system of the universe. It works, and I'm here to tell you to try it when you go home tonight, because it fucking works. And what happens if we all do it? Everyone in this room decides to take control of reality. I'm talking about reality, I'm talking about quantum physics, I'm talking about taking control of things from the quantum level up, from the molecular level up, and it works. This magic works. So I'll tell you something you can do while I'm here. One of the best techniques and one of the easiest techniques to prove that this thing works is to practice sigil magic. The technique is simple. Have a desire tonight. Go home and do this. Don't listen to this shit. Don't listen to my bullshit and go home and think, yeah, we are the fucking counterculture. Do it! Do it, and we will change the world. Right? Because I did it. I didn't trust those guys. I didn't trust Wilson. I didn't trust those people who told me we could do this stuff. And I'm here to tell you it works. And you can do it. We can all do it. Number one, first thing you do, write down a desire. Make it something easy that is likely to happen. Something possible. Rather than say, you know, I'm going to be king of the moon. Which you may want to be, as we all do. But it's kind of hard to be king of the moon. You're going to have to get a rocket and go up there. So pick something easy. If you want to sigilize for a lottery win, make sure you buy a ticket, or else it won't work. So these are the conditions within the material universe that we live in. What I think is we're actually dealing with is some, as I say, some kind of operating system that can be hacked using words. And words seem to be the binding agent for this thing, whatever it is. So I wrote this comic book, and as I wrote it, it became true. Things I would make the characters do became true. The main character was, I gave him a bald head and a leather jacket because I thought people would like me when they read the comic. And bald heads were really uncool back in 1992. And it worked. I found that if I put the character through a situation where he was being tortured, where his lungs had burst and he was being held in captivity and subjected to all these awful things, 3 months later I'm in hospital, 2 burst lungs, dying of blood poisoning and facing exactly the same shamanic trial that I put my character through. So once I figured out that, I thought, well, the best thing to do is give this guy an easy time in the future. So as a result of this, I just split up with my girlfriend, and I said, okay, I want a new one, and I want it to look exactly like this chick in the comic, because she's cool. You know? So I did a sigil. A month later, the girl turns up. Then another one, then another one, then another one, then another one. All aspects of this character, and I realised, oh fuck, this is insane. Because it works, and I've done something ridiculous, because now I'm dealing with all these women who look like the character, but I don't get on with, or I can't talk to, or I can't deal with. And I began to realise a little bit about how this stuff works. So beyond that, I decided I won't just use it to get laid, because it seems pretty pretty low grade kind of way of dealing with magic. But man, it works, believe me. And I thought, how much could you affect reality by writing a comic that mimicked reality but pushed it in weird directions? So around about 1997, I decided I would really seriously turn the thing into a super sigil. And it was based on the idea of, if you look at cave art, the first art was done, the first writing was done basically as art. And if someone wanted to make something happen, like if you were some like fucked up caveman in a cave somewhere moaning about your dinner, what do? You draw a bison on the wall, stick some spears in it, go out, and the bison dies filled with spears. And it's, hey man, we can make this happen. Slowly those things become letters, they become words, they become reduced to abstractions, complexes of meaning. And you can take that basic idea, and as we've seen, people like Austin Osman Spare, the magician from the early part of the century, or Crowley, or the Chaos magicians from the 80s, who were a big inspiration on me, they used this stuff. And what you can do is this, like I say, try this at home. Write down a desire. Quite simple, say, it is my desire that my cat wins the Olympics. Take out all the vowels. Right? Write this down, for fuck's sake, and do it. Don't just listen, do it, right? Take out the vowels, and you'll be left with a string of consonants. Take out the repeated consonants, and you'll be left with a string of consonants that have no repeats in it, whatever, X, Y, A, D, whatever. Turn that thing into a little image. Take the D, draw a big D, then you've got a T, draw a T under it, and keep reducing it down until it looks magical. And there are no rules for this thing. Do it until it looks magical. At that point, you now have a sigil. The sigil will work. You can project desire into reality and change reality. It works. Those must be the people who've done it. So please, write this down, go home and do it and check it, verify the results, because scientific procedure, I was reading this thing in New Scientist this week, and they said the difference between bad science and good science is that scientific procedure has 3 criteria. And the criteria are that you can verify results, you can talk to other people who've done the thing and make sure, that it works out. You can duplicate results, and also some other thing I've forgotten. But yeah, 2 things is fucking good, isn't it? 2 out of 3. This is verifiable. People have been telling us about this for thousands of years. The Tibetans have been telling us about this. The Mesopotamians have been telling us about this. And why is it being made occult? Because Coca-Cola have got the secret. These people know what we're talking about here, because what you do is you create a sigil. Coca-Cola is a sigil. The McDonald's M is a sigil. These people are basically turning the world into themselves using sigils. And if we don't reverse that process and turn the world into us using sigils, we're going to be living in fucking McDonald's.
He practiced a basic form of magic called the sigil, and he actually taught his readers in the letters page how to perform sigils.
And it's a really good entry into magic because it's very simple. So I picked up on it because it seemed to be something that worked. To construct a simple sigil, write down your desire in the form of a sentence, then take out the repeated letters, take out the vowels, and you'll be left with a string of consonants. Then take those consonants and rearrange them and mash them together until you've got something which doesn't look like your original sentence, which is its own little glyph. The idea is that you activate the sigil, and that's where it gets to be fun.
Look at that sigil, meditate on it, and masturbate.
While you're staring at the sigil, and at the peak, pour all your concentration into it, and hopefully and generally you will find that the thing you want will slowly enter your life.
All right. The only thing I would add on to that very excellent video clip is that there are more ways to activate your sigil aside from masturbation. And that is what we are going to cover in the next section. And welcome back to the next section. So, everything so far has been to prepare you for what we are about to do now. So let's get into it. Here's what you are going to need. The PDF script you just downloaded, your notebook, and a few plain pencils. Doesn't matter the color, just regular pencils. You're also going to need a few sheets of heavy colored cardstock paper and contrasting colored pencils. Now, what I mean by contrasting is this. If you pick, let's say, red paper, then the colored pencil you're going to pick is green. If you pick, say, orange paper, then the pencil you're going to pick it will be blue. Okay, now I added a color wheel in the resources section below that you can pick whatever colors that work best for you. The only color that they do not have is black. And in the case of black, you can use either gold, silver, white, or gray. Next, pull up your PDF script. Okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to scan through the PDF and find a line or a sentence in there that grabs your attention. Okay, now this is the line that I'm going to be using here. Let's turn this into a sigil. First, we remove the repeating letters. Then we remove the vowels. But what about the letter Y, the sometimes Y? Do you keep it or no? Well, my opinion is, since Y is sometimes a vowel and sometimes not, you should only use it sometimes or sometimes not. So if you have a Y in your formula, grab a quarter or a dime or whatever, flip it, and let the multiverse weigh in. Metaphysics works so much better when you can be flexible enough and allow the multiverse to move you instead of you trying to move the multiverse. Okay, so the letters you have left are the building blocks of your sigil. Your next task is to sigilize these letters into a living seal or symbol of power. And you do that by converting each letter into something else that can become a symbol on its own. Below this video, in the resource section, you will find another link called Passing the River. Passing the River is an alphabet based off the Kabbalistic writing system. And it was first described in the third book of occult philosophy by the occult writer and overall genius Cornelius Agrippa. Now, there are other magical alphabet systems out there to be sure, but this is the one I use. So download the alphabet and convert each one of your letters to its corresponding symbol in your notebook. Now, after you've done that, after you've taken each letter and converted it into another symbol, take that page, rip it out of your notebook, and then flip over to a new page. And now take that page that you ripped out of your notebook and use those symbols to draw all of those symbols into one large mega symbol. And that's going to be your sigil. You have to do this in one sitting. That means you sit down with the PDF script, you find the line that you want to use, you write out the line on your notebook, you then cross out all the repeating letters, cross out all the vowels, take what's left, convert it, and then take all those letters and put them together on a new sheet of paper into one draft sigil. If I could encourage you to do that all at once in one sitting, it should take you maybe about an hour. Do it. It is worth it. You sitting there and focusing your energy into this one task until it's done. Now, once you finish that, take the paper that you wrote down the line and did all the conversion and crossing and all that, take that sheet of paper, tear it up, throw it away. And the reason you're doing that is because you want to disconnect the letters and their meaning that you have in your conscious mind from what you are trying to install or suggest to your subconscious mind. Every time you make a new fresh copy or fresh draft, take the old draft, tear it up, throw it away. And what you will find is over a few days, you will forget what those symbols meant. You want absolutely no reminders of how the letters or symbols originally look. And I know I'm repeating myself, but it's worth it. That's why this process takes about a week. Okay, for the next 6 days, starting tomorrow, you will redraw your sigil once. So if tomorrow is, let's say, Monday, all right, then on Tuesday, you redraw the sigil again and tear it up. Then on Wednesday, you redraw the sigil again from Tuesday and tear up Tuesdays. And then Thursday, you redraw and tear up Wednesdays. You get what I'm saying? Until you get to the next Monday, a week later. And that last sigil that you draw on the 7th day will be your final draft. And it's this sigil you will then copy onto your colored paper with contrasting colored pencil. You absolutely need to go through this entire process for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, which we talked about now ad nauseum, symbolizing. For this symbol to work in the way we want it to work, you have to disassociate the letters from their meaning. So let's go back to our example. Okay, you remember this, right? You remember it even when it looks like this. Okay? But, what about now? What about this? Not so much, right? Kind of hard to tell what the letters and the symbols and what they were, what they once meant. Okay, that's the whole point. Now, your subconscious, or your psyche, if you like that term better, will still understand the meaning. And that's the important part. It will still understand the meaning, but you won't. You will just be looking at the symbol. Now, you know in the back of your mind that it's supposed to mean X because you will also be listening to the hypnotic program. But knowing that it's supposed to mean this, and then also staring at the letters and disassociating the letters from the meaning while you still know in the back of your mind what it means, that is what you're going after. And that's why it takes a few days. So, by redrawing your symbol and then repeating the next day, you are symbolizing, because each time you redraw your symbol, you're changing it a little bit. The change could be minor, or you could want to move a line from one side of the page to another side of the page, or you can make more major changes. It doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't have to be drastic. The changes you make is not as important as you removing your conscious mind from the process step by step. So after 7 days, you won't forget the meaning, but you should be hard pressed to find what the syntax is letter by letter. You have made it into a symbol, and that's the whole point. Now, reason number 2 you're going through this long drawn out process for a week is activation, okay? Activating your talisman or your sigil is the focus for the next section, but if you're following this method, then every time you redraw your talisman, every time you rethink it, every time you engage with it, you are activating it, because it is you that is giving this thing life and meaning. You're giving yourself to it. So every time you change it, every time you engage with it, as I said, you activate it, even if it's indirectly. And activating it is what we're going to talk about in the next section. And welcome back. This is section 4. We're talking about activation. But before we begin, let's do a quick systems check. We are, according to our model, our demonstration here, We are 1 week in, and you should have, 1, a mature talisman sigil that you've been working on for the last week, and 2, at least 5 plays of the hypnosis track you downloaded. And what I mean by that is, while you're taking this week to make up your sigil, to mature it, to grow it up, you should listen to that hypnosis track that you downloaded with the script at least 5 times. All right, just to give your subconscious mind an introduction to it. You don't have to do this, but it is helpful. Okay, so we are talking about activating that sigil, so let's activate that bad boy. I'm going to show you 2 methods of activation. Then I'll show you how to take advantage of the second method and make it foolproof. Tactic method number 1, right? Activation by masturbation. This is by far the most popular method of sigil activation, and especially in so-called chaos magic circles. And the reason is that, self-sex magic is simple. And you know what? It works. All you have to do is stare at that sigil you made while masturbating, and at the point of orgasm, close your eyes and hold the image of that sigil in your mind, like exploded in your mind as you are, reaching your own personal explosion. And that's it. Like I said, it's simple, easy, and it's something everyone knows how to do. You can also use the same technique during just sex, right? But I would advise that you already have the image like seared into your mind before you do that, because depending on what's going on at the moment, you might not be in the best position to look at your symbol while you're having your orgasm. Just something to keep in mind. Logistics are important. And beyond that, there's not much more to that method. As with anything, you can add on your own variations and get as creative as you want to, but those are pretty much the basics. So let me show you the other method that I personally prefer. This other method is a little more subtle, but I like it because it has better potential for growth and a continuation after you're done. Now, this method is activation by the fixed gaze. Now, here's what you're going to need. An empty room, your sigil or talisman, something to prop the sigil up against, like a glass jar or something like that, 2 candles, and a table to sit everything on. Now, here's what you're going to do, okay? Kill all the lights in the room. Turn off every light in the room. Place your sigil up against this prop and put the 2 candles on either side of the sigil. Now, make sure you're sitting close enough where you can make out that symbol clearly, okay? You want to be able to see the lines and the circles, whatever you draw, you want to be able to see it crystal clear. So make sure you sit close enough. Now, after everything is set up and you are sitting comfortably, focus your attention on to your sigil and just gaze at it. Now, hold that gaze without blinking. I know, sooner or later, you're going to blink, okay? You can't help it, but try to do it as less as possible. And now, keep staring, keep gazing at your symbol. Do you remember I told you to make sure the color of the paper you were using was in direct contrast to the color of the pencils? Well, the reason I had you do that was to assist you with this method of activation, because when activating with a fixed gaze, contrasting colors help you know when you have accomplished your work. What you're doing with both methods actually is you're blinking out to the non-physical side of existence. Let's call it dream side. So you're going over dream side, and in the first method, you're basically creating an explosion, right? To blow a hole in the ether and suck all the local mind stuff in. But if you use the fixed gaze approach, you're planting a seed instead. And I know it may not be as satisfying as the explosion. I get it. However, once the seed has taken root and begins to grow, you can basically set it and walk away. So where the colors come into play is as you're gazing at your sigil, you're going to notice that it will start to warp. You may see double, or the lines of your sigil may take on a 3D quality to them. But what you're looking for is the moment when your sigil either disappears altogether, like it'll just fade into the colored paper for a moment, or it morphs into something that looks nothing like what you drew and started out with when you sat down to meditate with it. When either one of those things happens, the seed is planted and you can stop for the day. The one thing that's not included or covered in this course is a method of getting yourself out into the ether or the dream side. And the reason that is not covered is, well, for one, you have at your disposal a variety of downloads and resources and an entire metaphysical system in the Awake Mind protocols. But none of that is here. And that's because you don't need it for what you're doing now. And that's because the hypnosis tracks handles all of that for you. This is truly metaphysics by the numbers. So over the next 14 days, take 5 to 10 minutes a day to activate your sigil with the fixed gaze method. Then immediately afterwards, listen to the hypnosis track. Now, it doesn't matter which order you do it. You could have did the track first and then did 5-10 minutes of gazing at your sigil. It doesn't matter, but you have to do them together. Okay, that's how the effects compound on top of each other. And if you do this for 14 days straight without fail, meaning that, like, let's say you do it day 1, day 2, day 3, then day 4, you like, oh shoot, I forgot, and then jump back on day 5. No, on day 5, you gotta start back over as if it's day 1. You have to do it 14 days straight without break, okay? So if you're able to do that, I guarantee you, your seed will have taken root. From here, your work is done, and you can walk away. Or you can move on to the next problem and rinse and repeat. And there you have it. How to solve 1,000 problems 21 days at a time with very little effort. Now, in the last section, we're going to go over some common questions, and I'm going to give you a few tips on some other ideas you may want to try. And welcome back again. If you have never meditated before, do the hypnosis track first, then activate your sigil. That way, you will already be in that meditative state or just coming out of it. If you find that you are having trouble getting your sigil to morph, you may need to take an extra week to do some basic focus concentration exercises. And we have 2 exercises that you can try. The details for both exercises are also below this video. Even though I focused on the fixed gaze method of activation, no one is stopping you from trying the first method either. I mean, you can go nuts and do both every day for 6 months if you feel that way about it. My goal with this course was to show you a way to start rearranging your reality in a hurry. But it is true that the more you do something, the more intense the effects will be. If you're stuck on which contrasting color combination to use, just stick with black cardstock and gold or silver colored pencil. You can't go wrong with that. Yes, and I say that not because I'm so smart, but because I am just smart enough to know when to lean on the professionals. 50% of the magic here is coming from the wizards of conversational hypnosis at hypnosisdownloads.com. From picking the words that you will turn into your symbol to the actual guiding you over to the dream side, Hypnosis Downloads is doing, well, all of the heavy lifting. Now, this may lead you to think, why don't I just download some of their tracks and skip all this other stuff you're talking about, Jason? And while you are, more than welcome to do just that, do not discount the power of the symbol you just created. I'm a huge fan of Hypnosis Downloads. I also know that hypnotherapy has limits placed on it, mainly due to over-clinical hypnotherapists who take painstaking efforts to make damn sure that hypnotherapy does not cross over into the area of woo-woo magic. But creating magical symbols is as old as cave art, while hypnosis or mesmerism goes back to dynastic Egypt at least. Putting the two together just seemed natural to me. It's a combination of light and sound, visualization and logos, and the process is a way to tap into the power of your own mind without any prior knowledge or experience, and that's the beauty of it. You cannot do this wrong so long as you do it. There are 3 things you can do. 1, throw it away. 2, keep it hidden somewhere. And 3, post it up somewhere where you can see it on a daily basis. Now, this is completely up to you because it really depends on your situation and intentions. If you just want to correct, say, like a personality defect, then maybe you want to tuck it away after you're done, slide it in your bed or something. But on the other hand, if you want to take this information and run a full life-changing campaign over the next year, then you are going to need to post these sigils up on a mirror, like in a collage fashion, somewhere where you can see it every day. And I want to leave you with 2 other avenues to explore if either of these styles suit your fancy. The first avenue is Gordon White's Sigil Reboot blog post. This is more like a guidebook he wrote. I think his intention was to make an ebook out of it, but I don't think it was filled out enough to make a full book. So it became like this epic blog post instead. Now, if you read the blog, notice how he uses something he calls the robofish. The robofish is a sigil of something that is already true in your life. It's something that has already happened. And you use the true statement to pull the other sigils you made up into manifest reality. Now, that was a genius move, but you also notice the same thing in conversational hypnosis. An example of this is when your hypnotherapist is wanting to get you to unconsciously agree to do a thing or to make a change. What they'll do is say 3 statements, 2 of which are true, and the last statement is the change you want to make. So let's say that you want to stop negative thoughts, right, that haunt you all day long. And actually, this is a big deal for a lot of people. You would be shocked if you knew how many of your friends, your family, and coworkers are all silently fighting a mind war with every scary, negative thought their imagination can conjure up. Everything from how many ways you can die a horrible, painful death to some end-of-the-world fetish, or just, how can shit go bad today? Excuse me for getting off topic a bit, but I think that the quiet war that hundreds of millions of people are fighting inside themselves, that is one of the biggest epidemics that is being ignored in modern time. All right, let's get back on topic here. Let's say you're dealing with all that and you want to get a handle on that. So you go to your hypnotherapist. Your hypnotherapist would say something like, now you know the sun's going to come up tomorrow, and you know you're going to have a thought because thoughts come up all the time. And you can take a step back from your thoughts and let the ones that are unhelpful fade into the silence. Now, that's just a piece of what would be an entire mental program. But in that piece I just made up is the robofish configured in the shape of word symbols instead of visual ones. But the aims and the results are the same, which nicely segues into the other avenue you may want to explore, which is hypnosis. I can give you over 1,000 reasons why you should use hypnosis, but the one that really matters is you will have the ability to discipline, direct, and command your mind. And in a world that is overflowing in an orgy of reactionary living and thinking, the one who can command their mind can do more than change their financial outcome. They can damn near do whatever they want. And if you want to do that, you start by rearranging your mind. And that is the art of hypnosis. Now, I've used hypnosis. I've learned hypnosis, but the only people I trust to teach it, online anyways, is the free class offered by Hypnosis Downloads. Now, this is their basic hypnosis course, but the fundamentals are there. If you're looking to learn more advanced techniques, they got that, okay? And I will personally vouch for their work and their teaching. They're stellar, outstanding, great. Some of the best you'll find on the internet and money well spent. But start with the fundamentals first, okay? And then see how you like it. And that's it. Thank you for taking the course. And remember, you have full access to this course and all the other material as long as you are a member. So feel free to go over this course as often as you need to, and please do let me know how this information is helping you. Take care, and we will talk again soon.